Hey everybody, Pastor Jeff here. I'm the lead pastor here at Evergreen Heights. And we wanted to just give you a bit of an update based on some of the recent announcements that have come across the news and just kind of where we're at as a local church. Now, as many of you know, the government has recently announced that churches are allowed to open at 30% capacity as of this Friday, as well as childcare centers being able to open on Friday as well. Now, the board and I have been praying and contemplating about what is actually best for Evergreen Heights as a local church body. And we deeply miss gathering together. We really miss being with you. But we just don't feel that it would be wise to return to in-person services coming this Sunday. You know, we have a lot of different reasons for this decision, and one of the main ones is actually the lack of clarity around the announcement. We don't know what kind of social distancing things they would like put into place. We don't know what kind of sanitization is going to be required, and so we really need to gain more information before we make an informed decision. Now, another thing that we find a little bit odd is the fact that the government is restricting gatherings to 10 people within 2 households, but then allowing 85 to 100 people to come into our small sanctuary. And we're just not convinced that it's super wise for us to gather as 85 to 100 people to be singing and praising God in worship when other restrictions are put in place where they say it's not safe for more than 10 people to gather. And so we just find that there's a bit of a conflict there, and we're not comfortable, and we wouldn't want to put any of our folks at risk. Now, we think actually that God is doing something in the midst of all of this. We're really convinced that God is moving and that He is trying to teach us something. And so we really want to take a posture of listening in the midst of all of this chaos. We don't want to miss what God is trying to do through this and through us. And so that being said, we're going to remain online for the summer months. But we're also going to be shifting into offering home church options so that you can gather within 2 families together under the limits of 10 people. And so we really feel that this might help to bridge the gap where we can gather in small groups around the online services, and we can participate in fellowship together through that kind of format. And I'm really super excited about that because it kind of brings us back to our roots of the early church, where we gather in small groups together and we praise and worship Jesus together in fellowship. And we gather around a table and we eat and we participate in the Lord's Supper. And so I'm actually pretty excited about this. So stay tuned because we'll have more information coming out about this over the next few weeks. Now also, many of you know that Evergreen Heights operates a 40-child daycare center here in Simcoe. And our center has also been given the green light to open at a reduced capacity as of this Friday. Now, we're not going to be opening as of this Friday because our daycare team is gathering more information, working alongside the county, who is our service provider, and the provincial government to find out exactly what it is that we need to do to open safely for both our kids and our staff. And so our daycare team is working diligently at this, and they believe that we will be able to open at a reduced capacity with a whole lot of different structures in place that will help to keep our environment safe. So we should be able to open in the next few weeks. Things are going to be different though. The building is going to be used differently, and things just won't be the way that they were before. And I really believe, folks, that as a church, we shouldn't be seeking for things to return back to the way they were. I really think it's important that we don't miss that God's doing something in our midst, and we need to be listening. And so we're inviting you to take that posture with us of listening and hearing what God has to say to us over these summer months as we enjoy gathering in small groups together with our online service format. Now, one more thing. We have not been able as a church to have our annual general meeting this year. And part of the reason for that is that our bylaws actually don't allow us to do an annual general meeting of the members with an online format. We don't allow online voting, and so we're not allowed, we're kind of handcuffed by our bylaws. We're not allowed to do a meeting that way. But we want to give you the information anyway. And so let me just look, on June 24th at 7 p.m., that's a Wednesday night, June 24th at 7 p.m., we're going to have an online Zoom town hall meeting. Now, there's no voting because we're not able to do that, like I said, through the bylaws, but we wanted to give you the information. We want to give you 2019's financial picture, where we were last year. We want to give you a picture of where we are to date financially. And trust me, folks, it's been a huge work of God and such a blessing. So many of you have really stepped up and provided in this crazy time. And then we also want to show you the 2020 board approved budget, and so that you're aware of how we're tracking in the budget and what we've budgeted for this year. After we've presented all of the finances, we'll show it to you on the screen. Then we're going to open it up for a question and answer period. You can ask questions about the finances, but you can also start to dig into what is it that God's doing in our midst. We are eager to share with you some of the cool things that God has been doing in this pandemic time. And so we're looking forward to this time of just gaining time together in fellowship online, as well as sharing information, sharing ideas and thoughts, and for our leadership team to share with you where we believe we're tracking for the future. And so I want to encourage you to join us on June 24th at 7 p.m. The details for that meeting will be coming out shortly. The last thing I want to do is I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you for the patience that you have had with us. I want to thank you for the prayers that you've been offering up to God for us and the many encouragements that we've received through this process. I just feel so blessed and so privileged to be your pastor, and I feel so blessed and so privileged to be serving such an amazing God. And so join us in this posture of listening. Join us for our meeting, our town hall meeting, as we gather together as the local church.